Moving on, Ghanaian President John Mahama is trending after making what many Nigerians are describing as uncomfortable, but perhaps telling remarks about our country, Nigeria. Speaking at the African Heritage Awards 2026, John Mahama warned that Nigeria's challenges could spill across borders and cause millions of Nigerians to, quote, run to Ghana, triggering migration pressures and economic strain in Ghana. He expressed deep personal concern for our country. He even said that he prays for Nigeria, and he stressed that our country's stability is directly tied to Ghana's well-being. This is what he had to say that caused some controversy online.
Of keen security interest to us. If Nigeria does well, Ghana does well. I mean, when you have cousins, 250 million of them, you want them to do well so that 1 million of them don't come drifting towards a small country like Ghana. So every day I wake up, I pray for Nigeria. I say, God, let Nigeria get their act together.
It's important to note that he also acknowledged strong historical and cultural ties between both countries. But his message was clear. When Nigerian shakes, the Ghanaian region feels it. And so, do you think that this was genuine concern, or is it a hard truth that Nigeria perhaps needs to confront? Let's have a look at what you had to say about this on social media. Chale Maegun of The Source says, we appreciate the prayers, but let's be real. Nigeria is an engine. When we move, the whole continent feels the vibration. We don't run, we expand. Even with our challenges, Nigeria's economy still influences the entire region. We'd rather fix our home and keep the doors open for our neighbors, as we have always done. Patriotic. Jackie UTD says, they are telling us to secure our country or else Ghana is not ready to accommodate Nigerians. Finally, Emmanuel Jacobs says, South Africa is pushing back. Now Ghana is stepping into, and yet we still act like we're exempt. The world is paying attention to our migration struggles, not our strengths. And we still think that leaving is the only answer. It is time we start building and fighting for Nigeria instead. I second that motion, Emmanuel. Team, very interesting dialogue here. We've long hoped for a very united Africa. We have a Pan-African dream, if you will, but it seems that each African country, West African country, is facing their own distinct struggle. A lot of Nigerians had, they did not like what President Mahama said. They felt that it was disparaging, but some other Nigerians felt that he was tackling, you know, a very serious problem that Nigeria is having currently, migration issues, especially with our population and the size of Ghana should anything happen. Etoma, dissect this for us.
Well, the Pan-African dream is still a dream, it's not a reality. So each country stands alone. And what the president of Ghana said connotes that Nigeria is so troubled that maybe we'll have to degenerate into civil strife, because the kind of migration he is saying he's afraid of happens when there's a war, you know. But Nigeria, here we are saying that the ADC should put their acts together, and we have the president of Ghana saying that Nigeria as a whole should put its act together. Well, Mr. President, we are not anywhere near a war. So that kind of migration, I don't think it will happen anytime soon.
All right, if you ask me, I'm not going to speak from any bias because you guys already know my affiliations with Ghana, but what President John Dramani Mahama was basically trying to say is, you know, we should fix Nigeria right. Now, I tell you, this is a man that has a lot of ties with Nigeria. I mean, his best friends with Mr. Dele Mahmoud. Just before the election, you know, in Ghana, he was in Nigeria to meet big weights in Nigeria. He met with Adenuga and a couple of, you know, Nigerian big weights. He loves Nigeria. He's always spoken great about Nigeria. And even in Ghana, we are very accommodative to Nigerian. He's not saying that Nigerians don't come to Ghana, because of course it will happen. But what he's saying is that with the current insecurity, and I was saying the other day, when I say all these insecurity stories on TV, my people call me back at home that, Ria, are you safe? Because they now feel like it's not just in the rural areas, it has gotten everywhere. So I get where he's coming from, that, you know, we're hearing all the news, Jos Plateau, everything happening. So we need to fix, you know, Nigeria so that we don't have people rushing into Ghana. But not saying that people cannot come into Ghana, people cannot go out of Ghana, because he's a very big fan of Nigeria. So I know that that is truly what he meant. But social media will always twist it to something else. But John Mahama truly loves Nigeria.
Or rather, he acknowledges the fact that Nigeria is a giant. When Nigeria sneezes, every other country, not just within the Western bloc, every other country catches cold, and that's the reality. He knows that there are so many Ghanaians in Nigeria as they are in different other countries. And if anything happens in Nigeria, Ghana is just about 39 million persons. Nigeria is about 230 or more. So he knows that when people, the Ghanaians in Nigeria, when they come back to Ghana, it might be a problem because currently Ghana is not all rosy. Let's face the fact.
But it's getting better.
Yes. So as a matter of fact, even the supply, the energy supply, 5,000 megawatts, there's something they call Dumso in Ghana, on and off.
But Dumso is off now. There's no Dumso
on
anymore.
and off. It's still been there. The issue of food security is still been there. Even Ghana CD to the US dollar, there's still food inflation is still very high. So he knows the trouble. If Nigeria does not stand strong to hold the Ghanaians in Nigeria, they don't want Ghanaians to come back, and then they'll have much more trouble.
But just to add something really quick, Olamide, Dumso, there was an era where there was Dumso, but right now there's no Dumso in Ghana again. But also to state this fact, I need people to understand that this is not what he meant. He loves Nigeria. This needs to be put out there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and if Ghana is truly, our cousins, family members tell each other the truth. What I enjoyed about this interaction is the fact that I saw Nigerians being very patriotic and defensive about our country.
Matter of fact, we saved Ghana when Ghana was in trouble.
Thank you so much, Chale Ibrahim. Thank you. Moving on into the world of social media, my favorite place to be. A video circulating online is